I want to be down south where it's blue and green and colorful and sunny.
Hey guys, how you doing? I want to talk today about a couple things, getting ready, preparing. You know, while you're waiting to actually buy the boat and prepare it, outfit it, and then take off, there are things that you can do. There are things you can do to plan and to learn. So that's the phase that I'm in, as I'm waiting to find the right boat to buy. I'm learning and doing some other things. One of the things that I'm doing for me, because as you can tell, you know, I'm not in my 20s or my 30s. I've lost about 20 pounds. I want to get in better shape just so that I can, you know, be up to the task and the challenge of the adventure ahead. So I actually started off at an overweight 236 pounds. I've lost about a good 20 pounds, and I have another 20 to 40 pounds to lose, because by the time I take off I want to be fit. You know, they say it doesn't matter how old you are, anybody, you know, there are people that are in their 80s and 70s, you know, out sailing, but I would imagine, I'll bet that those people that are in their 70s and 80s are not all overweight and not in good health. So yeah, it's not the age, it's the health, and often it's the weight and your strength. So I can work on that while I'm waiting to buy my boat, so I'll be ready. Today we're going to talk about what type of boat to get, specifically the keel issue, what type of keel would be best for where you want to go and what you want to do. So that's what we're going to talk about today. There are a lot of really good resources that you can find on the web to start learning about sailing, and there are some books that I think are worth it to get. Here's one book that I think is really good. It's the Voyagers Handbook, and it's written by Beth Leonard. I mean, there's just a ton of great stuff in here. I really recommend it. Also, the American Sailing Association puts out a lot of good books that when you're learning and taking the sailing certification and the lessons. This first one is called Sailing Fundamentals. It's got all the stuff, anchoring, sailing. It's just a great resource. Next level up is Cruising Fundamentals. Also a great book by the American Sailing Association. It kind of corresponds with the you know, actual lessons that you're taking out on the sailboat. If you're not very mechanical, you're going to have to start like me, because I'm not very mechanical. Let's learn about diesel engines. Here's Nigel Calder's Marine Diesel Engines. Why would you need information about fixing a diesel engine? Well, because when you're out cruising, there might not be anyone around to help you, and you might need to change the filter or bleed the pump. And here's a book you can start studying about diesel engines, which for me is a challenge because I'm not mechanically minded. Most of my training and education has been in you know, intellectual pursuits, not mechanical pursuits, and so it's pretty difficult for me. So time to learn. Another resource which I have found really helpful is it's a web forum called SailNet, and just become a member and you can ask questions or just read through it, and it's really also super helpful. Alright, let's start by taking a look at keels. There's basically two types of keel, a full keel and a fin keel, but there are variations of those. There's modified full keel, and then there is a modified fin keel, and gradations of both actually. So basically the old traditional cruising boats had a full keel, and that made it, you know, kind of very stable in the water, so it's slower. The more modern designs have a fin keel, and the boat is, you know, more maneuverable and faster. So depending on where you're going to be going, if you want to really sail offshore into the ocean, maybe do a circumnavigation, there are a lot of people that have fin keels or modified fin keels. For me, I would prefer a modified full keel, and certainly it's personal preference. So, you know, it's not necessarily an exact science. It's really what you prefer, and there are plenty of people who have circumnavigated in fin keels. But for me, I would prefer a full keel, or really a modified full keel. Second question is really, you know, where do you intend to sail? Because there's no perfect boat. Every boat is a compromise, meaning, you know, all the things that you would like to have, you're not going to find it in one boat, because one boat is good for one certain area and certain things not good for other areas. There's really no all-around perfect boat. So it really depends on where you want to sail. For instance, if you're just day sailing in the Chesapeake Bay or San Francisco Bay, then you're going to want a different boat than if you want to go offshore and maybe cruise through the Caribbean, or certainly, you know, go into the Eastern Caribbean, cross the Panama Canal and the Pacific and do a circumnavigation. So it really depends. So first you have to ask yourself, you know, where do I want to sail? The next big question, and I guess a lot of it depends on budget, is how big of a boat do you want? There's two measurements as far as the length overall of the boat, and then there's the length at the waterline. The length of the waterline is going to determine, you know, how fast your boat goes, and the length overall is, you know, going to determine a lot of things, such as, you know, how much room is inside. You know, in the 60s and 70s, you know, a 25-foot boat, 28-foot boat, you know, people did circumnavigations in it, and it was very popular for two people. You know, past 10 years or so, 15 years, people kind of want bigger boats, boats in the 40-foot range, 42-foot. 45, they're very common. If you're going to be a solo sailor, just you're doing it by yourself, then a boat, you know, in the 20 or 30 foot range would be fine. If you're going to sail with a partner, a friend, a spouse, two people as the crew, then you know, a boat 35 foot should be fine. Even a boat 40 foot would be fine for the two of you to handle. You kind of have to go out and see what you can handle. Obviously, the bigger the boat, the harder it is to handle, the more strength you need. And if you're getting into a 50-foot boat or a 60-foot boat, you know, it can be very difficult to handle it. Although I know someone who solo sails his 60-foot Pearson. So what size should you get? Well, you know, you need to test some out. Go out, charter some boats, and you'll know if you take sailing lessons or go and crew on someone's boat, you'll get a sense of, you know, the size. I've been on 60-foot boats and I've been on 14-foot boats, and kind of gives you an idea of what you would like. For me, I think a 35-foot boat for me and my wife was really what I'm looking for, because it's large enough, but it's not so big that we can't handle it. Although I would consider a 31-foot boat. I've looked at some 27-foot boats, and they seem a little small, but my wife is not as concerned about you know, the boat being, you know, as big as I would like it, because you know, she's just not as picky as far as claustrophobic living space. You know, some of the boats in the 20s for me are small on the inside, and I've been in boats that I just didn't really want to hang out there too long because it just felt so small. So for me, about a 35-foot boat would be good, although I may get a smaller boat. The wisdom says that you should get a boat that is as small as you can stand, basically small enough that you can still enjoy it, because it's better to use your money for the trip than putting money into a larger boat. The larger the boat, the more expensive. And there are ocean-capable boats that are, you know, 20 feet long. I mean, Pacific Seacraft makes a boat called a Flicka, but they're built for the ocean. They're built rugged and heavy and strong. So thanks for watching, and I hope you continue with me on the journey